Hello, welcome to Chapter 9 of Svenska Utifrån. We're going to talk about time. And the telling time in Swedish is quite similar to English, with a few little nuances that we'll talk about. First we'll talk about this word klockan, and it can be, of course, it can actually mean the clock, and you remember from last chapter, this would be an N word. It ends with an N, and so you could say en klocka. The other thing that it can mean is actually, like we would say in English, o'clock. So where we would say the time is 6 o'clock, they would use this word klockan. It is only used with whole hours, the same as we use in English o'clock, 6 o'clock, only with whole hours. We wouldn't say 6:30 o'clock, we'd just say 6 o'clock. One interesting thing about this word is that that in Swedish the word order is changed a bit. So in English we would say I wake up at 8 o'clock, and in Swedish it said I awake klockan 8. So the klockan comes before the number of the hour, whereas in English we would say the hour and then we say o'clock. So just the word order is slightly different there. But we never would use this with a half hour or 10 minutes past the hour. So it's just the same as English. Okay, there's one interesting phrase that I think that is in Swedish, and it is hur mycket är klockan. And literally, if we translate that, it means how much is the clock. And it isn't we're going to buy the clock, and the clock isn't going to tell us, but it just means what time is it. So you'll hear that phrase. Now when we talk about something other than the whole hour, now we have three cases, and in English it would translate to be before and past and the half hour, and so we would say here the example is 5 minutes before 8, and in Swedish, instead of the word before, it uses the word i. So 5:08. It means 5 minutes before 8 o'clock. And over is even simpler, because it's the same as the English word over, except it has the letter ö instead of o. So it's here's an example: 5 minutes past 8. So it's 5:08. So that's easy. It can happen. Well, let's talk first about this half hour. Simply, the word for half is halv, so so that part is quite easy. The thing you need to watch out for is that when they say that the time is 11:30, as is the example here, they mean half until 11. they don't mean half past 11. It means half until 11. So it means 10:30. It doesn't mean 11:30. So if you have a meeting, make sure you know what time it is, because if you come 1 hour late to your meeting, that's not going to work so well. The other thing about this before and past is that it can actually be used in conjunction with the half. So you can say 5 minutes past half until 11. So that would be 10:35. So, or you can say 10 minutes until half to 11. That'd be 10:20. And so those combinations are used there. So just need to watch for that. That's all there generally is about telling time here. I'll just say that the examples used here are just using the 12-hour clock. Often in conversation, you just use it 12-hour clock. But if you're going to go to a bus station, if you're going to go to a train station or make a flight reservation, it will always be in 24-hour clock. So there's no confusion of what time it is. And often with a meeting, even that much is said. If it's in the afternoon, the time is said at 14 instead of 2 p.m. Okay, one other thing that I want to mention here. So that's all about time. But one other thing that I want to mention is to review is something that we saw in the very first chapter and the very first page of the book, and that is the verbs being in the present tense versus their not sure the right form, but it doesn't matter. I would call it nominative form. So you remember it said it used the word I speak instead of to speak. It means to. We had it in two different ways, and when you say I speak, jag talar, we put the R on the end, and remember when there was the consonant, so kom became kommer. So we put the E and then R afterwards. So when I go through the book here and I see, like in this, here it's the word vaknar, means to awake, and no, it doesn't mean. It means I wake, but the actual equivalent to say to awake would be at vakna. So you might see that sometimes, and you might see it. I'll try and use it actually in my examples. At vakna, it means to awake, versus jag vaknar means I awake. And there's that always a difference. So if you want to know what is the actual root verb, you have to use this word at in front, just the same as in English you would use the word to in front. To awake, to start, to end, to go or to come, and so on. You use the word to, and in Swedish you'd use the word att and att. Okay, that's all for this time. Happy studying.